Hello, Crafty One. You usually like to get the news, right? Well, we have to wait for the new developments to occur in order for destiny to show its cards, and so we'll let the news marinate. We'll wait a while. But until then, I have something to propose to you. You see, my goal is to make you not miss a beat. You get all the details, but the problem is, things occur here in French, so you'll be missing out on the news, you won't be able to understand it until now. So we'll go back to the past, and in order to make this interesting, in fact, we're not only going to go to the past and only read an article, we'll actually see things. We're going to see Leonardo Rizzuto speak to the police, and we're going to catch his vibe. What kind of person he is, albeit short, a few seconds in the clip. They still mean a lot for us. So in 2020, or 2014, sorry about that, you know that there was an operation, right? And you know that Leonardo Rizzuto, Solicito, Gregory Woolley, there was search warrants in their homes. They were arrested, of course, and they were accused and sent to trial and eventually liberated because of Canada laws, of course. But here you have, we're going to be looking into the moment where they were arrested, the juicy parts. Here we have, it says, Le clan Rizzuto reprend le contrôle de la mafia. That means that the Rizzuto clan has retaken the control of the mafia. Remember, these were estimates back then. So we have October 8th, 2021 by Félix Séguin and Éric Thibault. Don't worry, I'm keeping this for the last. First, we get the context. Le clan Rizzuto a affaibli par les frappes policières. So we know they were hit by the police squads in 2015. You have it pictured right here. Mr. Leonardo Rizzuto in this image in an interrogation room. Note, he's a lawyer. So all of this would be very familiar to him. On top of that, his father was the crime lord Vito Rizzuto. What else could you ask for? Just imagine the advantage that he has over the typical criminal in this scenario. He knows the ins and outs of the law. He knows how to defend people. He knows about crime inside as well. It doesn't get better than this. In fact, when you look at the results after this police campaign, and they're all free, you realize that maybe, just maybe, this guy knew how to lawyer up. And he knows how to push his lawyers. And in fact, we know that the lawyer that they have, I don't know, by here, I don't know if he was able to practice, but no, he couldn't. The lawyer was accused himself. Yes, he formed an alliance with his dad's lawyer. They couldn't meet with criminals, of course, so they met at the lawyer's office, you see? And the lawyer became a gangster himself. But look at here. It says, the Sicilian clans showed signs of a decline in 2004, the year of the arrest of Vito Rizzuto, it says. And he was imprisoned, we know all that. But he says that the organization was shaken again on November 19th, 2015, in the Operation Mago Mastiff, we know that. But look at this. It goes to what I'm telling you. Remember, I don't read this article in advance. I don't prepare for it, I read it with you. It says, nevertheless, Leonardo Rizzuto seemed convinced that he could get out of this unscathed during his interrogatory. Crazy, huh? I got the sixth sense. You see, I was just projecting. Now we can see that we haven't even watched the video yet, but it's confirmed by our journalists here, Félix Séguin and Éric and Thibault, I think. Stefano Solicito were arrested at the same time and acquitted in 2019. If the Rizzuto clan was losing its power back then, they are actually quite the opposite now. Emboldened even. Nouvelle Garde, the new guard, the new administration. I keep shoving it in your head about the table of mafias, the council of mafias. The reason that I'm doing this, my friends, is not necessarily because who's on it and that's the end goal. My goal is, I want to know who can seat on that council of mafias, if not Leonardo Rizzuto himself, and why? What do they bring to the table? We're not going to get cut and dry answers, my friend. What we can do is try to figure out who's in the administration throughout time, what their specialties are, what they are arrested for, and eventually, maybe perhaps you and I will be able to derive some conclusions, because this Game of Thrones or this game of musical chairs isn't going to stop ever, I don't think. As long as drugs are made illegal, as long as there's contraband, and as long as there's capital slavery, capitalism, the way it is now, where, basically you get paid almost nothing, and the shareholders and the ones who have the capital make all the money, and you're working till you're bleeding. Until that changes, I think that organized crime will always exist, without a doubt. Let's keep going. Look at this. At that time, Look at this. We're going to get some good answers here. Le groupe, the group in 2021, remember, they're saying would compose of 30 members, associates, and brokers, specialists, people who borrow their names. So remember, we know that they don't own the businesses directly, usually. Usually. They will own it indirectly. That's what they mean by prête-nom. That means borrowing names. Or borrowed name, basically. And relations, they say. Il serait mené par 5 administrateurs. And look at that. Look what they're saying. This mafia would be led by 5 administrators. So right off the bat, we're going to talk about the council, the table in 2021. Leonardo Rizzuto. Remember, this is post-Mago Mastiff right now. Post-Mago Mastiff, they were arrested. And usually you're arrested, it's like a game of attrition. Your leaders get arrested, some of them get charged, and and you're gonna have to recompose that table. No, that's the game. That's the game of musical chairs. We have at this moment we have Leonardo Rizzuto, Stefano Solecito. Sorry, I tried my best. Vito Salvaggio, Liborio Contrera, and Francesco Del Balzo. Well, we know Francesco Del Balzo is completely gone now. Les 4 premiers, so the 4 first that we named until Liborio Contrera, they're talking about them. He says, les 4 premiers auraient aussi, they would also have the title of co-directors, whereas the last one would play the role of financier. Really? Look at that. Francesco Del Balzo was playing the role of financier. What do they mean by this? Leonardo Rizzuto did not have a treasure chest full of cash? Or how you say, generational from his father, all those secret contacts. I bet you they have money, cash. He passed it on to his son. Yet this article makes it a point to say that the financier was Francesco Del Balzo. I don't know why. I'm putting these facts out with you so we can resonate together, come to a conclusion. Although we will never know the answer 100% until it's confirmed, at least we can have an idea. We can still gain the facts throughout time, and we'll know what was wrong, what was right. Don't worry, I'll do it for us. But depuis que les frères Andrew and Salvatore Scopa, since the brothers Andrew and Salvatore Scopa were the leaders of the Calabrian side, again, I don't think any of these guys really have a link to Calabria and all that stuff. We're using this to paint a color. Maybe sure, his mother was from there, but this is a North American mob, but we'll use this as colors to paint a picture. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like a painting, if you see, but we're smarter than that. Only a proper Italian from back then that has the links that'll be able to confirm all this. Obviously, I would not be able to do so. Let's keep going. But he says that Andrew Scola, they were assassinated. Look at this. He says, so since the 2 brothers were assassinated, quote, the threat against the high directorship of the network of the Rizzutos has seen going down. So in other words, saying that the threat has been going down. Obviously, the 2 menace, they were not the only menace. We also have Pony. So there was a moment where this calmness, it was like almost interrupted when Rénal Desjardins was seen leaving the penitentiary. Damn, after approximately 10 years of incarceration. But this last one quickly went back behind bar for having broken his conditions of liberations. You remember that? We covered that way back. Yeah, of course. I trimmed the videos. And sometimes I get videos now that cannot get monetized because I say one word or whatever. Like I had one. I had to remove it. Look, so here the police are. It's very interesting what they're saying. They're saying that in the last 2 years, so probably 2020, 2019, he's saying that the Rizzuto clan had profited of liberties, of course, of notable liberties, to reposition itself and its members, I guess, and become implicated in the large portfolio of criminal activities, they're saying. But here's why I found that intriguing. It says, on the local scene, on the national scene, and the international. They're giving us the position, the police. So I would have thought the international part would have shut off with his father going. That was his father's venue, right? Now I'm a little surprised you're talking about international. What does Leonardo Rizzuto know about international? He was a lawyer growing up. He wasn't, I don't know. I'm a mystery. I'm throwing this out. Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, someone correct me. So I find that interesting. Unless they are talking about the aspects of bringing cocaine back here. But then, they have the affiliations with the Contrera brothers. They have affiliates everywhere else. And that's a given. Because no matter what, they're selling cocaine. So it's international the whole way. You know what I mean? So I wonder why they're saying this. If it's because of cocaine, nothing special. Les policiers estiment qu'en plus des paris sportifs, the police says that in addition to the illegal betting, which is now their most important activity, they're saying, the Rizzuto clan would also be a little bit everywhere in the criminal market. stupefiers, loan sharking, excessive loan, money laundering, extortion, intimidation, and others. We know the administrators, right? I just turn your attention. These are all sons of the old administration. Just think about that. Just think about the nerves, the audacity, and the entitlement. And I don't mean no disrespect. I'm just talking about this factual. So your father did it. That must mean that you have a claim to this. It's a little bit of what's going on here. You have Stefano Solicito. If you've heard the audio footages, you would know that he's not a very nice guy. And then we have the mysterious Leonardo Rizzuto with a face screaming of Vito Rizzuto. He looks like Vito Rizzuto as if he was younger, but with a arrogant smugness to it, looking at you directly in the face. Perhaps because he feels he's smarter than you. Perhaps because he feels that he's gaming the system. He knows both sides, perhaps. And that he's a lawyer, which is not an easy thing to achieve, by the way, whatsoever. Let's keep going. And then, thirdly, we have, well, if his last name doesn't give it to you, Francesco Del Balzo. You know, the balls, because he's got balls. Well, it says he was 51 at the time. No, he's gone, and he died about approximately 2 years after this. You see, the difference between these two, the second gentleman, he rose to the top from the very bottom. And as always is the case, when you climb the corporate ladder, you go higher and higher. What happens? You lose your consciousness. You become sociopathic. You start the gaslighting. You start looking at people below you. You start to lose a part of your humanity. Well, ain't it so similar inside the mafia, no? Francesco Del Balzo. Eventually, this guy had no conscience. No moral compass. He was completely a wrecking ball. When we saw that, he was even extorting Catholic priests, guys. That's what I'm talking about here. Let's keep going down. And third, we got the guy who looks like he's the white Mexican, you know? But he's not. He's Liborio Contreras. Don't let that fool you. The man is part of a criminal family, a big, large criminal family. My apologies, that's all I know about you, about this Contreras name. They went to Venezuela maybe decades ago, and they opened up shop there with you-know-what. And who do you think they're exporting that you-know-what to Canada? Who do you think is sending it out? I don't know. My opinion, based on my research, they have a network of mafiosos over there, living there. They have a good life back there in Venezuela or those areas. And that's how they build the relationship with the cartels over there. You have to be able to send your product over here, right? You need coordination. If you're going to have a furniture business and you're going to bring furniture from Venezuela, for example, I don't know if that's possible, but you want to hide your cocaine inside of it, well, you're going to need a legitimate business on the other side, am I not right? Or you're just going to trust random people you don't even know that they're going to send, you're going to give them thousands of dollars, real estate money, and you're just going to magically hope it's going to arrive from over there all the way here? I don't think so. What you want people who live there, that have relationships. We already know that the Mexican cartel, for example, it's another example, the Mexican cartel with Rabbi Al-Khalil and all of them, why do they always go to Mexico? If it was just as simple as get the product, why do they go there? Just get the product here and then do your thing. Because it's not that simple. You need to go see the drug lords there. Perhaps you want to buy it on consignment. I don't know if that's how it works. Or perhaps they're looking for a big-ass down payment. Perhaps the down payment is you when you go there on behalf of a criminal network here in Montreal. Perhaps you go there with a friend and one of you must stay there until the product is fully paid. Perhaps. It's not as simple. So in that case, you do want people. Rabbi Al-Khalil, his brother was in Mexico back then. Guess what happened to his brother? He got killed. Rumor has it is there was a problem with one of their loads. And the drug lords in Mexico are ruthless. They killed his brother. My memory is horrible. But I think his brother died in Mexico, something related like that. He definitely didn't die in Mexico by accident. I could tell you that much. Here's an interesting character here. We have a Vito Salvaggio. Don't let the last name fool you. He's not just a salvager. In fact, he's a criminal boss. He's such a boss that they say in this article in 2015, he was seated at the table of mafias, at the direction. And look what he was, responsible for extortion of commerçants, or businesses, of which he would receive pizzo in exchange for protection. Protection for what? You're in Montreal, man. It's not protection, right? It's more like you're buying us to not ruin your life. And he was also supervising loan sharking activities. So here we go. Perhaps one way to enter the table of mafias is to bring money to the table in form of extortion. If you become big enough, You do it for the mob. He's mobbed up, obviously. Perhaps you'll be able to join that table. I don't know. But one thing's for sure, he was at the table, and we know that his main activities or wealth came from extortion of businesses. Okay? Monopole des paris illégaux. Now, the Rizzuto has taken advantage of the pandemic to take control monopoly of illegal sports betting in the Montreal region, it says. And that perhaps would have caused conflict with Francesco Del Balzo, right? Il s'agit d'un commerce illicite très payant. And according to the evaluation by the RCMP, during Projet Colisée. So you need to know, Colisée, you guys keep hearing me say it, for those who don't know, Projet Colisée is the most important anti-mafia operation in Montreal in approximately 2004. Oh, there we go, we have the date, 2004 to 2006. And almost 1,600 players had affected a total of 820,000 bets between October 2004 to March 2006, a year and a half approx. And look at this. It says on their internet website in 2004. Imagine placing bets on the internet in 2004. And I'm talking about a clandestine website for a total of $390 million and a net profit of $26.8 million. So there we have it. We have approximately a profit margin of, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8%. But remember, there is no inventory. There is no inventory. You're printing money out of thin air. Le groupe Rizzuto est soupçonné d'exploiter lui-même ses serveurs informatiques pour... So it says the Rizzuto clan was suspected of exploiting its own servers, computer servers. Not sure how that works. You guys probably know. Pour assurer for the sports betting in 2004. That's a pretty damn... You gotta give it to them. You gotta give it to them, man. I'm willing to bet that in 2004, your average citizen, Québécois, could not go online and place bets online, and like bets for the, I don't know, UFC or things like that in 2004. What are the chances that they were even there, man? Usually in Quebec, I've noticed this, whether it's the metro station, anything that has to do with the government related. Their technologies are outdated. They're ancient. I'm almost sure of myself that in 2004, the mafia had more advanced capabilities in providing a service, better quality, whatever you want, than our own government. Le groupe Rizzuto est soupçonné d'exploiter. Yeah, we did that. Let's keep going. There you go. Let's watch this. Son of a godfather with a smug face and an arrogance that cannot be bought. You have to be the son of a godfather. You have to be a lawyer, and you also have to have lost your dad. Perhaps that also plays into his anger.
L'interrogatoire du chef mafieux, Leonardo Rizzuto.
I'm not going to answer the question.
Voyez comment les policiers l'ont fait parler.
See how the police officers made him talk. How did they incite him? Now let's listen. Here it says, tu veux m'aider? So he's going to say this because we're interrupting the video. Tu veux m'aider means Leonardo's looking at the cop right now. Look how red he is. Look at his head. Look at his head. Look how red he's getting. Saying, you want to help me? Now that's what he's saying. Let's keep going.
You want to help me? Tell me what you think you are.
Dans la série des grands interrogatoires, à JE, vendredi 21h.
There you go. If you needed an admission of being a criminal, you don't need much more than that. And you have the picture right here. Now let's listen to what Félix Séguin will say. We're gonna get some extra value here. You're not gonna miss a beat. You're gonna know every little detail.